college football, FCS levels back in full swing in the spring. One big story, I know, right? One big story is Jackson State, Deion Sanders. Of course, Jackson State beat Edward Walters College, a small NAIA, HBCU as well.
Yeah, Edward Waters, yes.
Yeah, Edward Waters, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But what led up to the game, what tainted, in my opinion, was when Deion made news when he said that someone stole some shit out of his locker room or some office or something like that.
Out of his office, yes.
Now, look, I understand being mad if someone takes your shit, right? And it was recovered, by the way. But to me, it's time and place because it's the stigma of HBCU, right? Because they figured, oh, it's a black school. Like, look at them stealing Deion shit, and that's what I don't think Deion meant for that to happen. I hope he didn't mean for that to happen. But you know how it is. You know how it is. If this is at Tennessee or Florida State where he came from, I don't think it would be much ado about nothing.
God, no.
But because it's Jackson State, it's HBCU, and it had to pick up much more traction, thankfully, but it picked up enough. So
it picked up too much, in my opinion.
Okay. I know you got time. I know you got thoughts, so I'll let you have it.
Yeah. So, most of us in HBCU circles, we kind of joke around that whenever you make SportsCenter as an HBCU program, in most cases, it's bad news.
Right.
Now, it's been the opposite over the past year because, of course, there have been signings of high-profile players coming to HBCUs. See McCord Maker, see the Sanders brothers and all the guys that are transferred over to Jackson Southern, Jackson State, along with the hiring of one Deion Sanders. And then there have been some high-profile players to go to other programs as well. The young ladies, the twin sisters that transferred to go over to Howard, just to name a few, right? And to play volleyball there. But yeah, this was another one of those situations where after watching the game and not necessarily watching the press conference, that was the only thing that took up the headlines from all of the major media outlets that I saw. And when I say major ones, it was on ESPN, Sports Illustrated, Yahoo, 24/7 Sports, all of those, they all said the same thing. Deion talked about being robbed at the game, and it overlooked the fact of the team winning 53-0 against a program that, in my opinion, they probably could have beaten bigger. But I digress. I don't want to sit here and be critical of the team because they succeeded. They won. Right. Hopefully they learn from their mistakes. Yes, and they get better as the season goes on because, once again, this is a new head coach and it's a new team for a lot of these players as well. So I don't want to be too critical about them. They'll hopefully get whatever they need to get together over the next couple of games together so they can go ahead and do what they need to do. But I'm going to go ahead and focus on the whole robbery thing. Now, I understand his anger. Yeah. I understand why he was upset because he was violated, right?
Yeah.
Or he felt as though he was violated. And for him to come out and open up with that in the presser was hurtful. And I'm going to need Prime to understand. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and address him correctly.
Go ahead.
I'm going to need Coach Sanders to understand that, unfortunately, HBCUs are looked upon and they're thought of a lot differently than other programs.
Right.
And all it takes is for the smallest thing to happen at an HBCU for people to say, see, that's why I don't want to send my child there. That's why this program can't succeed because stuff like this happens. And it doesn't even have to be the biggest thing. When I say programs make ESPN, okay, Howard has made, for an example, over the past 9 years, they've made ESPN for 3 reasons: the McCord Maker signing, the Ron Prince, Kalen Newton situation, and then there was a situation where players were taking book vouchers and selling them and using them for their own personal purposes. So, of course, 2 of those 3 were bad situations.
Right.
And I hate to hear about a book voucher situation on ESPN. Who does this? They talk about, kids from Power 5 conferences selling off items to make money, but that becomes such a short-lived thing. But you got to hear about book vouchers, and they're like, see, this is why HBCUs don't succeed. And you're looking at a situation now where high-profile kids and upper echelon and high-talented kids are starting to look at HBCUs as viable options.
Right.
But if a parent who, once again, is trepidatious about sending their child to an HBCU will look at this and say, see, if they're doing that to the coach, what will they do to my child?
Right.
I don't know if I want to have my child in that situation.
Yeah.
And that's just something you just cannot do, because it's already difficult enough to change the opinions of people who already have negative opinions on HBCUs is. And this just adds on to this. Now, I know Coach Sanders has heard it from all angles, because I know that after his reaction on Monday, once Stephen A. Smith has said something to him personally, Jalen Rose has said something very similar, where he talked about the school that he started in Detroit, where his car was broken into, and he didn't report it because he didn't want the negative press to go out about that section of Detroit that he's looking to assist.
Yeah. And
my God, I wanted to be said right now, HBCUs are not necessarily a reclamation project.
Right.
As much as we would like to have high talent players come to HBCUs, trust me, these Black kids need to come to HBCUs so that they can be respected and loved upon the way that they should, and nurtured the way that they should be.
Not because you can help them win games.
Kids.
Yeah.
Not because they can help you win games. Because trust me, talent is already here at HBCUs.
Yeah.
Trust me, there's talented head coaches already at HBCUs. We don't necessarily need them. We would love to have them, yes. But we don't need you. We would love to have you here so that you can be loved on and respected the way that you should be. Yeah. Because we already know that you have problems already at these PWIs. I'm not saying, hey, don't go.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is this. Go check out an HBCU campus and see how they treat you. And more than likely, they'll treat you like you're at home. And sometimes it's going to be tough love. And I don't want an incident like this to be negative towards anyone who's looking to come, be it another athlete or another coach, to do this at an HBCU. Now, I've heard Coach Sanders's response to everything and how he's dealing with it, and he felt the way that he felt. I'm just hoping that he's seeing this as a learning process, because this is the second time this has happened to him since he's been hired. He had his car broken into when they stole a boombox a couple of months ago, and now this. So I understand the aggravation. I understand the anger, but we have to do whatever we can to help protect the image of these institutions. I'm not saying don't handle the situation, because that's the other thing. The situation was handled. The assistant caught the guy who was stealing the stuff from the office and placed the items elsewhere. Unfortunately, due to poor communication, he did not relay that message to Coach Sanders, who expressed his anger during the press conference. And we just can't have those moments at HBCUs, dude. So I'm like I said before, I'm hoping that Coach Sanders sees this and uses this as a learning lesson on how to proceed, because I know that he's an open guy. He likes to share everything that happens in that program.
He's an open book. He's transparent. I'll give him that.
And I'm at times it could be a benefit, and at times it could be a detriment. This is one of those times where it's a detriment, dog. And I really hope that he understands now how this could be perceived as a way to hurt HBCUs, even when it's not its intentions. You always got to be aware of what you're saying, because people in a lot of instances will attempt to use it against you, even when all you're trying to do is rectify a situation.
Yeah, I agree. Well said, brother. Well said. And which makes even that Maker kid in Howard, they had to shut down the whole basketball season because of COVID.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's not healthy, he hadn't been truly healthy, even though that's not really Howard's fault.
No.
What they're gonna do? They're gonna blame Howard for possibly ruining a potential lottery picks trajectory.
Yo, that's exactly what an article was written. They were like, there were a lot of people who believed that McCord made the wrong decision in going to Howard. Dude, an injury like that can happen anywhere. Playing bad like that, the way that Howard looked, and yes, they did have a loss to a Division II program, can happen to anyone in these circumstances.
Correct. It's an injury. It's an injury.
And it's playing bad for a program who is in year 2 of their head coach, where I think somewhere between 10 to 12 players on that roster are brand new and have never played with one another. They barely had a lot of time to practice with one another because of COVID. They barely worked out with one another because of COVID. And that's what you're going to get earlier. As a matter of fact, a lot of HBCUs looked bad early in their seasons. It took some time for them to get together and learn to play with one another. So to be judgmental of McCord's decision after 4 games is asinine to me. It just is. Allow that dude to make the decision for where he wants to go, because it's not just about athletics. Yes, if he wanted to win, and there were people saying that, if he wanted to win and get the HBCU experience, he probably should have gone to Texas Southern or gone to North Carolina Central, where, you know what, you're right, because they're experienced programs with experienced head coaches that have done it before and they've won. That's not what he wanted. He wanted to go to Howard, and he's a student athlete. And we always have to take into consideration that first word first. And a lot of times we don't. And that first word is student. Let that dude be a student first, and the athletics will come. Don't be judgmental of these kids making these decisions that they feel as though will better them for being a student than anything else. Let them have their student experience, and don't rob them of that because of how you feel. Let them have this thing, please.
Well said.
My God.
Well said. We'll get you out on this, man. We'll wrap it up with this.